Hey everyone, today we're ranking every killer based on their perks, or their teachable perks. With the new teachable perk and prestige system in the game, it seems appropriate to make a list judging the killers by their respective perks, and hopefully helping you to pick out who to level first. Or maybe you just like rankings. Either way, we have 4 tiers for this list. Amazing perk set, good perk set, average perk set, and bad perk set. Nice and simple, I hope. I'm not going to be touching on every perk and its ability, just an overview of the killer's perk highlights and weaknesses. I'll put up a number ranking of each perk in the corner too. The higher the number, the better. I also very quickly want to mention that I have a Discord now. Be sure to come join it. Link below. Starting off, we have the bad perk set tier. The Huntress has some pretty bad perks. Beast of Prey is debatably the worst perk in the game on both sides, so there's that. Territorial Imperative is barely but definitely better. Then Hex Huntress Lullaby is just average. It's one of the weaker hexes though, that often never reaches its full potential. Each token gained makes skill checks harder, and each token is earned through hooking survivors, so it's okay. The Wraith has a set of pretty dreadful perks. Predator and Bloodhound are tracking perks that aren't really worth your time. Shadowborn is his standout perk, with it being quite unique, and allowing you to increase your FOV as killer, which can help you counter FOV techs and things like that from survivors, and generally just have a wider view, which can be nice. The Executioner just might have the worst perk set in the game. Force Penance is bad, Deathbound is weird and bad, and Trail of Torment is pretty okay. After kicking a generator, you become undetectable until you either hit a survivor or the gen gets worked on, so it's a fairly solid stealth and surveillance perk. Overall though, Executioner is very low down for leveling. Moving on to the average perk set tier. The Twins have perks too. Hoarder is kind of okay on item-related characters like Cenobite or Nemesis. Coup de Grace is cool but bad. Oppression would be good. Unfortunately, it has an 80-second cooldown. The Twins perks have never really been updated or changed all that much either. They're overdue a change, and perhaps that'll come soon. The Pig has fairly weak perks in my opinion, and isn't that worth going for early on. Hangman's Trick is near useless. Surveillance is okay, but has better alternatives, and Make Your Choice is really not that great either. These perks can all be far more effective with builds around them, but the perks themselves are nothing special. The Legion have a great information perk in Discordance, which reveals generators with 2 or more survivors on them. Great perk. Mad Grit and Iron Maiden are situationally useful, and good in very specific situations and builds. Largely not good perks though. The Oni is awesome. His perks are not so much. Zanshin Tactics reveals the auras of windows, pallets, and walls within 32 meters. It's nice, but you can learn stuff like this fairly easily in time. Blood Echo is effective situationally, but it's only really effective with consistent pressure. Nemesis is unique, in that it allows you to change the obsession. The extent to which that ability is useful though, is questionable. Fun character, air perks. The Nurse was hit relatively hard by some nerfs. Thanatophobia is much worse now, and not the best slowdown, providing very small amounts for most killers. A Nurse's Cooling has basically always been a solid aura perk, revealing nearby healing survivors with an aura. Nice and simple. Strider is really just irrelevant as a perk at this point, and should probably be reworked. It's mildly good for tracking, but not the best. The Shape has one solid perk in Save the Best for Last. It's a unique perk that lets you lower the cooldown after you successfully land a basic attack, which can help shorten chases greatly. Play with Your Food is unique, but by and large, bad. And Dying Light is a mildly effective slowdown perk. The Cannibal has a solid perk set. Barbecue and Chili is a favoured information perk that can help you find your next survivor after hooking, although it no longer gives you extra BP, which is a shame. Franklin's Demise is annoying, but honestly quite effective. When you land hits, survivors drop their items, so good for stopping toolbox gen rushing and removing stacked medkits from the match. Knockout is a perk. It can mildly confuse the survivors on occasion, giving you a bit of a leg up. The Nightmare has unique and overall good perks. Fire Up gives consistent buffs throughout the match. Remember Me is great for slowing down the opening of exit gates and easily activated. Then Blood Warden is very unique, allowing you to block the exit gates. A perk set with great potential and build viability. The Mastermind has a pretty average set of perks overall. Awakened Awareness is a good perk for locating survivors and avoiding sabotage plays, with it revealing survivors close by when you're carrying another. Terminus is also uniquely good and capable of countering perks like Adrenaline, definitely situational though, with it being an endgame perk. Superior Anatomy is just okay, it can be nice on certain killers, and help out in chase in some capacity for most killers. The Spirit has very average perks I feel. Spirit Fury I find to be quite weak. Haunted Ground can either give valuable pressure or do absolutely nothing. Rancor is an okay information perk, and unique in that it allows you to Mori the Obsession when all gens are done. Spirit wouldn't be my first pick to level, but also nowhere near my last. The Dredge has fairly good perks. Darkness Revealed helps you locate survivors after opening a locker, allowing information on command, but kind of with an awkward activation requirement. Both Dissolution and Septic Touch are fairly average I find, another two perks with potential, but are typically not go-tos for me. Dredge perks are high end of average for me. Next we have the good perk set tier. The Hillbilly is a bit like Trapper, in that he has a good, simple yet effective set of perks. Shorter pallet stuns with Enduring, effective stealth and gen control with Tinkerer, and a good flashlight avoidance perk for those quad beamer cases. The Doctor has a couple good perks. Overcharge is actually very strong now, allowing you to apply 200% regression after kicking gens, and also giving the gen a difficult skill check. Monitor and Abuse is a good perk for stealth and pressure, then Overwhelming Presence is underwhelming. The Trapper's main benefit is his perk Simplicity. He can help you both speed up pallet breaking and the carrying of survivors with Agitation and Brutal Strength. Unnerving Presence is a weak perk, but can make skill checks harder for less experienced survivors. The Demogorgon is no longer available, and its perks are available for free, but I thought we'd rank them anyway. Jolt is good. It blows up gens when you down survivors close to them, applying regression also. Claustrophobia will block windows around a generator after its completion. It isn't that great. It sounds better on paper. The usage is narrow though. Fearmonger is also quite solid, applying blindness and exhausted onto survivors working on gens. It's really helpful for countering exhaustion perks, and generally confusing the team by applying blindness. The Ghost Phase has two good perks. I'm All Ears is a helpful tracking perk, allowing you to see survivor auras after they fast vault. Thrilling Tremors is also a great information perk. Ghosty's main flaw is Furtive Chase, which is like the weirdest perk in the game. It changes the obsession, it lowers your terror radius in chase. Don't worry, ignore it. You'll probably never use it. The Nemesis has pretty good perks. Lethal Pursuer is probably the highlight, revealing survivors at the start of the match briefly, giving you instant information and pressure. Hysteria and Eruption both serve unique purposes, and can be effective. Can be is kind of the key though. I find them fairly hit and miss. The Deathslinger's best perk is probably Deadman's Switch. It's a perk that has a lot of good pairings, blocking gens when survivors let go of them, activating after a survivor is hooked. Hex Retribution is also quite a nice hex, nerfing the survivors when they cleanse or bless totems. Strong if you like hex-based builds. Gearhead is a perk I personally like, with its easy activation and helpful information. Not a bad pick to level. The Blight has two really solid Hex perks in both Hex Blood Favor and Hex Undying. Blood Favor blocks nearby pallets after injuring a survivor for a damage state. It can be useful for forcing survivors off of loops, but will be seeked out and broken quickly. Undying gives your hexes a second life, allowing them to persist after they are broken. Definitely weaker with the Ruin nerf, but still a solid perk. Dragon's Grip has a horribly long cooldown, and isn't very good. It also seems kind of inconsistent in my experience. The Plague has one of the better perk sets in the game. Corrupt Intervention blocks 3 gens at the start of the trial for 120 seconds, which is great for building up pressure early and slowing gens down. Infectious Fright is a great perk for snowballing and locating survivors, particularly good for insta-down killers. Dark Devotion is weird and doesn't really work. Fun though. Plague is a solid pick to level. Finally, we have the amazing perk set tier. The Hag has a really solid perk set across the board, with triple hexes. Ruin is weaker than it used to be, but it's still a semi-reliable perk to cut down time and help with gen regression. Devour Hope is a perk that has great potential, and can be one of the strongest perks in some situations, due to its ability to allow you to kill survivors at 5 stacks. Third Seal is there too. I like it. The Onryo has some good perks. Scourge Hook Floods of Rage is a perk I really like. When survivors get unhooked from Scourge Hooks, you see all survivors for 7 seconds. Cruel of Brine provides great gen regression when you hit a gen. When you hit a gen, it regresses twice as fast for 60 seconds. If survivors work on the gen, you are alerted if they hit skill checks. Merciless Storm is debatably good. It will slow down some players, and not affect others. The Trickster has a pretty amazing set of perks. Starstruck has found its way into the builds of many killers, and is a scary perk. No Way Out is genuinely strong, stopping survivors from opening the exit gates for up to 60 seconds. Hex Crowd Control is similar to Blood Favor, but instead blocks vaults. It's even more volatile I find, and can be effective, but there's far better anti-loot perks in my opinion. Trickster is a genuinely solid pick to level though. The Artist has debatably the strongest slowdown perk, with Scourge Hook Pain Resonance, a very strong flexible perk that can work on every killer, and slow down gens with ease, exploding the most progressed gen for each survivor hooked on a Scourge Hook. Grim Embrace exists, and Hex Pentimento is the coolest perk ever. It can actually be used very effectively too, even at its lowest level. It allows you to reconstruct broken totems, each totem giving the survivors a nerf. If 5 stacks or 5 reignited totems are reached, the totems get blocked, and remain indefinitely blocked. Awesome perk, and solid even at its lowest levels, with just a couple reignited totems. The Cenobite maybe has the best set of perks in the game. Deadlock is a great perk to slow gens, blocking the next closest to completed gen each time a gen is completed. Hex Plaything is a really solid and unique hex that applies Oblivious to survivors after you hook them, only leaving them when a specific totem is broken. It's a great distraction from the main objective. Scourge Hook Gift of Pain is nothing special, but a decent perk to slow down survivors. There are better choices though. The Clown has a very strong set of perks. He has good gen regression with Pop Goes the Weasel, which applies a 20% instant regression after kicking a generator, and is obtained after hooking a survivor. Chlorophobia is a newly effective anti-heal perk, reducing heal speed by 50%, and making skill check speed far quicker, making them harder to hit for survivors in your terror radius, and so making it harder for them to heal. Bamboozle is also a great anti-loot perk. Clown really covers all aspects of gameplay with his perk set, very solid. I'm giving Clown top spot for the reason partially that he does cover all gameplay bases with his perk set. Alright, that's gonna do it. I do hope you enjoyed. Be sure to put your own rankings down below. Thanks, and goodbye.